You survived the first 24 hours, the explosions, the panic, the moment when everything you knew about normal life disappeared forever. Now, it's been a week. 7 days ago, you had a job. You had a routine. You had complaints about traffic and deadlines and your neighbor's dog barking at night. None of that exists anymore. This is what the first week of World War III actually looks like. Day 2 begins with silence. Not peaceful silence, empty silence. The kind of silence that means something is deeply wrong. The TV channels that were running nonstop coverage yesterday are now showing emergency broadcast screens. Some channels are just static. The ones still working repeat the same information on a loop. Stay indoors. Await further instructions. Conserve resources. Your phone has 3% battery. You haven't been able to charge it since yesterday because the power has been flickering on and off. When it's on, you charge everything you can. When it's off, you sit in the dark and wait. You try to call your brother in another city. The call doesn't connect. You try your parents. Same thing. The networks are either overloaded or damaged or both. Text messages sometimes go through. Sometimes they don't. You send the same message to everyone you love. I'm alive. I'm okay. Please respond. Some responses come back hours later. Some never come at all. You don't know if that means the message didn't send or if something happened to them. The not knowing is worse than anything else. By the afternoon of day 2, you realize you need supplies. You've been eating what was in your refrigerator, but with the power unreliable, everything in the freezer is starting to thaw. You need to either cook it all now or lose it. You decide to try the grocery store. The streets are strange. Some cars are moving, some are abandoned in the middle of the road, out of gas or just left behind. You see people walking with bags, with suitcases, with children. Everyone looks scared. No one makes eye contact. The grocery store is destroyed, not by bombs, by people. The windows are smashed. The shelves are empty. What's left on the floor is crushed and scattered. Cans dented, bottles broken. Someone spray painted something on the wall that you don't want to read. You stand there for a long time, trying to process what this means. This is day 2. Day 2, and civilization is already cracking. You walk home with nothing. Day 3. The government announces rationing. You hear it on a battery-powered radio you found in your closet. Batteries included, thank God. The radio becomes your lifeline, your connection to whatever remains of organized society. Food distribution centers will be established. Citizens should bring identification. 1 allocation per household per day. Hoarding is now a federal crime. Gas stations are under military control. Fuel is reserved for essential services. If you have a car, it's becoming useless. Some people are already abandoning vehicles on the highways and walking. The internet is mostly down. When it works, it's slow and unreliable. Social media is flooded with rumors, panic, and misinformation. You can't tell what's true anymore. You stop checking. Your neighbor knocks on your door. Old guy, lives alone. He's out of his medication, heart condition. Without it, he might die within weeks. You don't have his medication. Nobody does. The pharmacies were looted on day 1, right after the grocery stores. You share some of your food with him. It's not much, but it's something. He cries. A 70-year-old man crying on your doorstep because someone gave him a can of soup. This is day 3. The war itself feels distant and abstract. You know it's happening. The radio talks about naval battles in the Pacific, airstrikes on military bases, troop movements in Eastern Europe, cities that have been hit, military casualty numbers that sound fake because they're too large to comprehend. But here, in your neighborhood, the war is about smaller things. It's about water pressure dropping because the treatment plant is running on backup generators. It's about the smell coming from your refrigerator because you had to throw away everything inside. It's about the sound of gunshots at night that might be looters or might be something else. It's about watching your world shrink from a planet to a country to a city to a neighborhood to the 4 walls of your home. Day 4. You meet your neighbors. Not the casual wave from the driveway. Actually meet them. Talk to them. Learn their names. The family across the street has 3 kids and almost no food. The woman next door is a nurse, which makes her the most valuable person on the block. The guy at the end of the street has a generator and a gun collection, and a look in his eyes that says he's been waiting for this his whole life. Someone suggests organizing, sharing resources, watching out for each other. It's awkward. These are people you've lived near for years without really knowing. Now you're discussing survival strategies in someone's living room while their kids play in the corner. Oblivious. You create a system. Who has what? Who needs what? Who can do what? The nurse will handle medical emergencies. The guy with tools will handle repairs. You're assigned to water, figuring out collection and purification if the taps stop working. It feels like playing pretend. It feels like LARPing the apocalypse, but it also feels necessary. Day 5. The first fight. Someone tried to break into a house 2 streets over. The owner shot him. The gunshot woke up the whole neighborhood. People came out with flashlights, with weapons, with fear in their eyes. The intruder was a teenager, 16, maybe 17. He wasn't armed. He was just hungry. The owner is sitting on his porch, shaking. He wasn't armed. He's never shot anyone before. Now he's killed a child over a can of beans. No one knows what to do. There's no police to call. The 911 lines have been busy for 3 days. You heard that cops are only responding to the worst emergencies now, and even that's inconsistent. Someone covers the body with a sheet. Someone else talks about digging a grave. Someone else says they should wait for authorities. What authorities? You go home. You lock your door. You don't sleep. Day 6. News from the front. The radio reports a major battle somewhere in Eastern Europe. Thousands of casualties. A city you've heard of is now rubble. Another city is under siege. Closer to home, there are reports of attacks on American soil. Not nuclear, not yet, but missile strikes on military bases, sabotage of infrastructure, cyber attacks that took down power grids in 3 states. The government says the situation is under control. The government has said that every day since this started. No one believes it anymore. You hear rumors about the draft. Men between 18 and 45, maybe women too. No one knows for sure. The radio says to await official announcements. Your cousin's husband is military. He shipped out on day 1. She hasn't heard from him since. She has 2 kids and no idea if she's a widow. Your other cousin is 19. He's terrified. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to die in a country he can't find on a map. You don't know what to tell him. You don't know what to tell anyone. Day 6 continued. The nuclear question. Everyone's thinking about it. No one wants to say it out loud. There have been threats. Both sides have made statements about all necessary measures and proportional responses and other phrases that mean nothing and everything. The radio says that nuclear forces are on high alert. It says this in a calm voice like it's reporting the weather. You think about what you would do if you heard the sirens. You think about the basement. You think about the supplies you don't have. You think about radiation and fallout and all the things you learned from movies that are probably wrong. You think about whether survival is even the right goal. What kind of world would be left? Then you stop thinking about it because you have to. Because you can't function if you let yourself go down that road. You focus on today, on water, on food, on making it to tomorrow. That's all you can do. Day 7. New normal. A week ago, you had a job. Now you have a role. Water collection and purification. You spend hours every day on something that used to take 0 seconds of thought. A week ago, you bought food at a store. Now you stand in line at a distribution center for 3 hours to receive a box of basic supplies. Rice, beans, canned vegetables, powdered milk, enough calories to survive, not to thrive. A week ago, you talked to friends about movies and sports and gossip. Now you talk to neighbors about security schedules and water storage and what to do if the power goes out for good. The world has changed. You've changed. There's no going back. Some people are handling it well. They're adapting. They're finding purpose in the crisis. They're stepping up in ways they never did before. Others are falling apart, drinking, fighting, disappearing into themselves. One house on your street has had the curtains drawn for 3 days. You don't know if the people inside are okay. You're afraid to find out. The information trickles in. The war is not going well. For anyone. Both sides are taking massive losses. The global economy has essentially ceased to function. Supply chains that took decades to build have collapsed in days. Some countries are trying to stay neutral. They're failing. There's no neutral in a world war. Everyone has to choose a side or have a side chosen for them. Some countries have already fallen. Small ones. Or have the ones that were in the wrong place. The ones that nobody will save because saving them isn't strategically important. You think about all the people in those countries. People like you who had jobs and routines and complaints about traffic. People who are now refugees, or casualties, or statistics. Day 7, evening. You take stock. Food. Enough for maybe 2 weeks if you're careful. After that, you're dependent on the distribution centers. If those fail, you're dependent on whatever you can find or trade. Water. Still flowing from the tap, but weaker every day. You've filled every container you can find. You've learned 3 ways to purify water if it comes to that. You hope it doesn't. Power. Sporadic. On for a few hours, off for a few hours. You've learned to live in the rhythm of it. Charge everything when it's on. Conserve everything when it's off. Safety. Uncertain. The neighborhood watch is functioning, but you're not soldiers. If a real threat comes, organized looters, desperate refugees, something worse, you don't know if you can handle it. Communication. Almost non-existent. You got 1 text from your brother 2 days ago. He's alive. That's all you know. You haven't heard from your parents at all. Mental state, holding, barely. You've cried twice. You've had 3 panic attacks. You've talked yourself off a ledge more times than you want to admit. But you're still here. You're still functioning. You're still adapting. The first week ends not with a bang, but with exhaustion. You go to bed on day 7 knowing that day 8 will bring more of the same. More uncertainty, more fear, more survival. The war isn't over. It's barely begun. The radio talks about this lasting months, maybe years. They talk about mobilization and production and long-term strategy. Long-term, as if anyone can think past tomorrow. You lie in bed and listen to the silence. No cars, no planes. No hum of civilization that used to be so constant you didn't even notice it. Just wind, just darkness, just the occasional distant sound that might be anything. Here's what you've learned in 7 days. 1. Everything you took for granted was fragile. The grocery stores, the power grid, the police, the whole system that made modern life possible. It was held together with string and habit and the assumption that tomorrow would be like today. 2. People are capable of both the best and worst when pushed. You've seen neighbors share their last food with strangers. You've seen a man kill a teenager over nothing. You've seen courage and cowardice, generosity and greed, often in the same person on the same day. 3. You're stronger than you thought. A week ago, you couldn't imagine living like this. Now you're doing it. Not well, maybe. Not gracefully. But you're doing it. 4. Nothing is certain anymore. Not the war, not the future, not whether you'll see the people you love again. The only certainty is now. This moment. This breath. The first week is over. You don't know how many more weeks there will be. You don't know if there will be months or years, or if everything ends tomorrow in a flash of light. You don't know if your side is winning or losing. You don't know if winning even means anything when the cost is this high. You don't know when, if, things will ever go back to normal, or what normal will even mean after this. All you know is that you're still alive. You made it through the first week. Now you have to make it through the next one, and the one after that, and however many come after, until the war ends or until you do. 7 days ago, you were a person with a life. Now you're a survivor with a purpose. That's not nothing. In a world falling apart, that might be everything. You close your eyes. Tomorrow starts in a few hours. Day 8 is coming. You'll be ready.